Hello and welcome back to my channel where we talk about tips and tricks for the elementary music classroom. Okay, here's today's video. So today I'm going to talk to you about a couple different things. I'm going to talk to you about how to write a lesson plan. And I'm also going to give you some suggestions for the first week of school, how you want to structure that plan. So first, let's look at how to write a lesson plan. So you can see before you a lesson plan that I did last year, towards the end of the year. I believe this was in May when I did this plan. And I have taken my name and my school's name and my district's name out. That would be up on the top location of the plan, but I went ahead and removed that table. And I do teach in the state of Virginia, so the first thing you'll notice here is that we have the Virginia Music SOLs. Let's just take a moment to look at how many SOLs I actually have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 that I have written up here. Here is something that a lot of classroom educators and administrators don't realize. I teach 45-minute classes, and I am constantly going from one activity to another. In a given lesson plan, I might do 6 to 7 activities. Each activity may have a focus objective, but it also may have a secondary objective that I'm continuing to teach throughout the course of several lessons. Say, for example, steady beat. I teach steady beat. We do steady beat songs at the beginning of every one of my classes for kindergarten through 4th grade. My 5th grade is structured as a beginning chorus, so that's a little different. But my kindergarten through 4th grade classes, that's the very first thing that we do when we come into the classroom is we find the steady beat. It's part of our anticipatory set, it's part of getting our mind focused for music, and it's just that way to reinforce steady beat. And we'll talk about meter with each song, and we might talk about other things with each song, such as instrumentation or dynamics or whatever I'm trying to get them to do with that particular piece of music. So that being said, I teach steady beat every single class time, but I do not need to have steady beat hanging up there as an objective. If I were to write out every objective that I teach in a given class, there would probably be about 10 to 15 objectives up there. Principals don't like that. Other educators don't understand that. So I pick 4 to 5 objectives to put up onto my lesson plans. The reason other educators and administrators don't like to see all that is when you walk into a classroom and if they are teaching a math lesson and they are teaching addition, then they're going to have the objective up there that's all about addition. They will spend a whole hour long or hour and a half long math class on addition. We don't do that in music. We are teaching singing, we're teaching listening, we're teaching playing, we're teaching dancing, we're teaching theory, we're talking about form, we're teaching all sorts of things. We're definitely going to go over more than one objective in a 45-minute period. If you can condense your objectives down to 4 or 5 objectives, then it will be a much easier lesson plan to write because it'll be smaller, and principals will also appreciate that you have again condensed it down to that. All right, so let's look at the objectives that I have up there for a moment. So we're talking about music literacy, high and low pitches. I think I said in a previous video that my district focuses on rhythm in the fall and melody in the spring. So that's why this is up here. Individual singing, so it's talking about using echo and ensemble singing. This is a 1st grade lesson. Individual ensemble intermenstrual performance. So this was during hybrid last year where I did not have the students using instruments because my Zoomies wouldn't be able to use instruments being that they were virtual, and my roomies having to clean them off all the time. So we switched to a body percussion format for our instrumentation. And then student will respond to music with movement using locomotor and non-locomotive movement. So that covers choreography that you might have, that covers anything extra that you might have in a song that you want them to do any kind of movement to. Then I have my I can statements up here. and then I have the order of activities. So let's talk about lesson plan format for a moment. Your district will probably have a specific lesson plan format they want you to use. It may be a format that everybody in the district uses regardless of whether they teach second grade, music, PE, art. It could be that it's a music lesson plan that your department uses as music. You're going to have to adapt to whatever lesson plan format your district chooses to use. This is the one that we came up with during virtual teaching. And my district uses I can statements. So you can see I made the I can statements very simple. These are all the activities that we're going to do. And then you come over here, and here are my order of activities. So in the classroom setting, when it was not virtual, pre-pandemic, during this introduction part, that's when they would have a steady beat when they're coming in the room. They would sing an opening song just to get them ready to do all that. But I had to kind of cut that because in the beginning we were doing all virtual, and I was too busy letting students in because they would come at different times. So I just had to cut that piece. So I just called that attendance. So the first thing I do as far as any activity goes is we do a steady beat song at the beginning of every class, like I said, with kindergarten through 4th grade. And the steady beat in this song was in 3, I do believe, in a meter of 3. So they would use their hands to match the steady beat. So the first thing we do is we tap on our legs, and then we discuss the meter. I'll give them a pattern. So if it was in 3, it'd be and we'll do that pattern for a while and discuss what the meter is. Okay? And we might discuss other things like instrumentation or something else. I think there's a really good trumpet part in this particular song, so I might discuss that as well. Next, you see solfege, so various pitches. So I have various patterns with different pitches in them, and read patterns using voices and hand signals. Pretty self-explanatory. Then we have the singing song, Bluebird. I have them review introduction, interlude, and coda in every class. As well as form. We talk about form. And of course you want them to use their singing voice. So playing, this was body percussion piece. That's the name of the song. We played notated ostinato patterns using body percussion, and it reinforced forms. Every playing piece, I try to change the patterns to reinforce the form. Even if the song is just an A section, if it has multiple verses, you can say verse 1, we're going to do this pattern. Verse 2, we're going to do this pattern. Maybe verse 3, they get to choose which of the 2 patterns that they want to do. And then we have dancing. And there's the title of the dancing song, and use movement to reinforce form again. And theory, intervals, compose a measure of music by choosing step, skips, leaps, or repeats. So the only difference with the 5th grade lesson plan for me would be there still would be the objectives up there. There still would be the I can statements, but in the order of activities, it would say warm-ups, and it would have the list of my repertoire that I'm working through at the moment. And underneath the repertoire titles, it would say work on using head voice, work on pronunciation, whatever area that they need to work on to fix that song and make it performance ready. The lesson plan is there mostly for administrators and guests to see what you're doing in your classroom. By the time you write this lesson plan, you have already decided what you're doing with each song. You've decided how you are going to incorporate these objectives. You've decided all of your materials that you need, all your visuals, all of that. You've already chosen all those things. And yes, you can refer to that lesson plan as much as you need to, but while you're teaching, you are probably not going to refer to each objective. You're probably just going to be looking at that body of the lesson for your songs and what you wanted to do with that song. Like, let's say it teach dynamics, teach meter, whatever it says underneath your little subheading there. So let's talk about behavioral objectives. Some principals will require this of you, so I'm going to show you how to write one really quickly. We're going to take that very first objective. The student will demonstrate music literacy, identify high and low pitches represented by a variety of notational systems. So I'm going to start writing. Given a song, ongoing, the students will demonstrate their ability to identify high and low pitches. Now let's change that to notated high and low pitches. With a 75%, no, with 75% accuracy. So here we go. Given a song, ongoing, the students will demonstrate their ability to identify notated high and low pitches with 75% accuracy. If you noticed, I used a lot of the wording from the objective itself to form my behavioral objective. Now, the reason the word ongoing is in there is because this objective is not going to be assessed in every single class period. So the objectives, when they want to see a behavioral objective, they want to know the outcome, the assessment rating for the success of that objective. So that is why there's that 75% accuracy at the end of the objective that I wrote up there. But this objective is not going to be assessed in every single class time. However, this objective might be around for several class times and might be assessed on class number 10 or 11 or whatever. So that is how you write a behavioral objective. I would not put those on your lesson plan unless you are required to do so by your administration. This is how I structure my lesson plan on the first week of school. So if you look up here on this, it says kindergarten through fourth grade do the steady beat song that is playing while they're entering. The students will stay in their line order. The teacher leads the line to the chairs, and has the students fill in the chairs while staying in their line order. So basically, I just say, everybody follow me, keep following the person in front of you, and I lead them around, and I put the first student in chair 1, chair 2, chair 3, etc., and so on and so forth. Then I introduce myself, and I go over my rules and consequences. Right after that, we're going to sing a song. So now we're in the second music activity. The very first one was the steady beat when they came in. So they already know we're doing music in this classroom. Now we're in the second one, which is an opening song. It could be something that you think that they know, like a very popular song that is on the radio at the moment, or it could be something that is super easy to learn that you could teach them really quickly. You might find that you're the only one singing along that first day, and that is okay. After we get done singing, I take that roster and I write down the chair numbers of the students right away. And the biggest reason you're going to do this right after you got done singing is because the next thing that I have my students do is a dance song, which means they're going to leave their space, they're going to be dancing, and then they got to go back and find their chair again. If I didn't take the time to write their chair numbers down, there's a lot of confusion, especially with the younger students, as to where they were sitting. And then there could be this whole, that's my chair, no, that's my chair. I want to avoid all that. So then we do a dance song. And then after the dance song is over with, we're going to do a singing song. And that'll be a brand new song that they probably haven't heard before, something usually from a music series. And then I will take that same singing song usually and we'll play instruments with that singing song. Just makes it easier that first week to not have too many moving parts. And usually the first week of school, pretty much everybody is playing rhythm sticks. We're not adding anything else. We're using rhythm sticks, but it'll be different songs for each grade level and different rhythm patterns for each grade level. And then you get to the end and you wrap up, you do your questions. What did we do in music class today? Is there something that we learned in music class today? So you're asking some questions of your students, and then you can do a closing song. So depending on what you prefer, your closing song could be a piece of recorded music. Your closing song could be something that you sing as a class. So one of my things that I do is I do rhythm chants a lot in my classroom, where I will say, everybody, and the students know as soon as they hear that to go ahead and copy me. So it could be something as simple as, everybody, everybody, please pay attention, and get quiet, and get quiet. So I have used those rhythm chants to give out all sorts of instructions, and I discovered years ago that it's a fun way to wrap up the class. So it would be, everybody, pick up your smiley face, pick up your smiley face, put it on your chair, put it on your chair, face the right way, and get in line, and get in line. And this part, when we get to this part, they're not copying me, they're doing it with me at the same time. Ow, 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 ow. And they could do their own little motions that they want. And we'll do that for a few times until I feel like everybody's kind of in line. And then I'll say, everybody, everybody, get quiet, get quiet. And I'll go, shh. And they know that we're done talking, we're lined up, we're ready to leave the classroom. So it's a fun little way to have a closing thing in your class that's pretty consistent every time. Sometimes we do run out of time and don't have time to do that. And I just have to say, guys, we got to go, line up. But if you have the time to do it, it ends your class in a nice way. You're doing rhythms, so you are definitely still doing music, even though there's not a pitch component to it or a recording component to it. And it prepares the students to leave your classroom. Well, that is all I have for today's video. I hope that you learned some tips and tricks for writing lesson plans, behavioral objectives, and things to do for the first week of school. Don't forget to subscribe. I hope you all have a wonderful day.